Well, just as I mentioned a few weeks ago, the Freedom Flotilla coalition strikes again. Greta is now on her way back to break the siege once again, even though this entire group knows that they're not going to make it there. They claim that it's illegal for Israel to stop them from going to Gaza, but once you reach a certain area outside of Gaza, there is a blockade where you are illegally entering these waters. You are not allowed to go past a certain point. And that's where Israel goes and picks them up, and they claim that they're kidnapped, and they threw all of their little computers and all their little cell phones overboard because they were probably communicating with terrorists the entire time.
To go, phones need to go, please. Don't sit in the water. Get in the water. Only from channel today. Take this. We are taking everything down. Guys, anything that is sensitive needs to go down.
That one is another phone there.
You put the computer. Yeah, this phone is Francesca Bonet. Signal was gone. Don't signal.
Lève-les-mains là.
Call sign. Mike, Romeo, Alpha, Hotel.
Okay.
Je ferai des photos, je vous en ferai.
MMC number.
Yes. To go.
You can see there where they threw all their electronics overboard, which is quite suspicious. But I mean, when you learn a little bit about some of the people that go with them on these things, it makes sense. So one of the guys that we're going to see in one of these videos that is on this Freedom Flotilla, and I believe that he was on the last one that Greta was on, and he and another guy on board this one actually went to the funerals of Hamas leaders, and they actually praised them for being revolutionary humanitarian leaders. Yeah. Hamas. Yeah, because they're so humanitarian. They're so loving and wonderful people that really care about other people's lives while they're pillaging and essaying and cutting off the heads of babies. Yeah, those are revolutionary, iconic humanitarian leaders. So these people are literally terrorist sympathizers.
Greta Thunberg is back in Gaza, or at least heading to Gaza. She first tried in June as part of a flotilla that tried to break the blockade set up by the Israelis. She was intercepted. She spent a day in Israel before being sent home on a plane. Interestingly, while she was in Israel, she was offered the chance to watch footage of the October 7 attack so she could see what was done to the Israelis. She refused to watch that. Her ignorance continues, and now she's setting off with others to try to break the blockade again. Here she is talking about her trip, and she was asked specifically, fair enough, you're upset about what's happening to the Palestinians. I think we're all upset about what's happening to civilians, but what about the hostages?
We know your views on what's happening and Israel's actions. Can I just ask you your thoughts on Hamas? They're still holding hostages. What would your message to Hamas be?
Again, there is a genocide going on.
No, there isn't.
Palestinians have been living under suffocating oppression, and when there is an occupational force, this is not my views. By international law, people have a right to resist that occupation.
She really is insufferable, isn't she? As I said, last time she tried this stunt, the Israelis intercepted her boat. She was in Israel, I think, for a night before they sent her home. But this time, they're promising not to be so nice. They've said they'll put her in jail, and one of the prisons reserved for terrorists at that. So, Freya, once again, Israel doing the world's work. By the way, there's a little bonus to this. If they do jail her, it means that if Australia is unfortunate enough to host COP31 in 2026, we won't have to put up with Greta being on our shores.
That would definitely be a blessing. Thank you, Israel. But this is so infuriating because she is sitting there lecturing the world from her ivory tower about, oh, it's not my view. it's just international law that Hamas is not really a terrorist organization, but she doesn't have the balls to actually watch what they did on October 7. And that, I think, is so hypocritical. You can't talk about international law, now this is just justified resistance, and then not watch what resistance actually looks like. Because I've seen the full 47-minute film that the IDF put together of all the October 7 footage, and it is rape, it is murder, it is kidnapping, it is thousands of civilians coming across from Gaza by air, by land, by sea to capture innocent Israelis. There is nothing about that was resistance. It was pure terrorism targeted at civilians. And so
Exactly. You hear these people talk about apartheid this and apartheid that and resist this and resist that. Y'all, I have watched videos of people traveling back and forth from Palestine to Israel, from Israel to Palestine. Is there a checkpoint coming from Palestine pretty heavy? Yeah, there is, because there's terrorists in Palestine. But whenever you're going the other way, it really doesn't matter. You can go into Palestine just fine. Now, if you are a Jew or a Christian and you want to visit the holy sites that are within Palestine, they try to prevent you, and in most cases are successful at preventing you from visiting those sites, which is why the Jews go to the Wailing Wall, because they can't generally go to the Temple Mount, which is their holiest place, because the Palestinians won't let them. That's apartheid, not what's happening in Israel. They have to make sure that they're not letting people in that are going to kill people. Like, that's literally what's happening. There's not an occupation of Israel in Palestine. There just isn't. It's not true at all. And if we have a connected brainstem, we know that this is not a genocide. If we've been following the news, the actual news, not the mainstream media bullcrap that you see every day, but if you actually look into information, you know that the US and Israel are sending aid. So is the UN. But there have been some hiccups with the UN not having the proper procedure or the right people to take this stuff in to fight back against Hamas, because Hamas hijacks the trucks and steals the aid and then sells it back to the Palestinians for a profit so that they can keep their terrorist organization running. Like, the absolute mental retardation that it takes to believe all of the lies that these people believe. And I don't think that Greta really believes this. I think she just wants fame and she's just acting. That's what I think.
People keep asking me, what are the links between climate justice and Palestine? And why do you care about Palestine? I do not understand how people cannot see that connection. In what ways are Palestine and climate justice not connected? Why should I not care about Palestine? I am a human being. I have basic values, common sense.
You don't care about Israel. You don't care about the people that were murdered by Hamas. You support Hamas. They literally cut the heads off of babies and essayed women and then murdered them. They set babies on fire. But you don't hear Greta Thunberg or any of her retarded followers talking about that. They never mention that once. That's why this war started.
Of course, there are the obvious links between climate justice, environmental destruction, and Palestine, which is wars, occupations.
And Palestinians do not give one single fuck about climate change. Not one. They do not care about climate change, Greta. You freaking idiot.
Environmental degradation, ecocide, huge emissions. They go hand in hand, as Palestinians know very, very well, by destroying all the conditions to maintain and sustain life, by, for example, destroying cropland, and just pure ecocides are one way of ecological warfare to deprive Palestinians of their means of sustaining life. But also, it should be much more simple that if you care about a habitable planet, you should also care about humans, human well-beings. I'm not a climate activist because I want to save trees or frogs. Like, that is also very important. We should avoid a climate breakdown. But I'm a climate activist because I care about human as well as planetary well-being.
No, you don't.
And even if we are so selfish that the images from Gaza of people looking for body parts of their lost family members through the rubble, if that doesn't break our hearts and inspire us, not inspire, but motivate us to take action, how can we expect a world that is allowing this to happen, to take a few steps back and act to prevent an ecological and climate breakdown? And also, how can we expect that world to stand up for us when we need it?
Again, Palestinians don't care about the climate. Your boats that you're taking there use gasoline and give off emissions. You know that you're not going to make it there, so you're using all of that gasoline and giving off all of those emissions for literally no reason, and you know that. So I have to conclude that you actually don't care about the environment, and you're just doing all of this as a big show. And you have not once mentioned about the Israelis that were searching for their burned alive babies and the limbs that were cut off of their wives and girlfriends after they were SA'd by Hamas and Palestinian civilians. No, you don't care about that, but everyone should care about Palestinians. No thanks. No, thank you. This dude right here was one of the people that were at some of the recent Hamas leadership funerals, praising Hamas and talking about how great these leaders were, how they were humanitarian icons and shit like that. This is what she said last time that they were intercepted after she got back to Paris.
Illegally attacked and kidnapped by Israel and taken against our will to Israel, where we were detained, and then some of us deported, some are still there. They're very
kidnapped. They were kidnapped. Let me show you how they were greeted when Israel boarded their boat. Water and sandwiches. Here you go. Eat and drink before we send you back home, where we hope you stay. Wow. This is the first ever kidnapping where your kidnapper was eager to make sure you had food and water and eager to send you back home as quickly as possible. Yeah, interesting. These people are silly. They're going to be intercepted again. And the comment that was made about putting them in a terrorist cell was just an Israeli politician, like, just saying things. Like, that's not an official decision that's been made or anything. They're probably just going to intercept the boats again, give them sandwiches and water again, and put them on planes as soon as possible back home unless they commit crimes. And it's just hilarious that there's so many people that actually believe that this is beneficial, and they actually believe that these are courageous, brave people, when all that these really are content creators trying to get clicks and likes, and they're trying to get a story. They're just creating drama. It's absolute drama and theatrics, 100%. So what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. Hit the like button. Make sure you're subscribed if you're not already, and I'll see you on the next one.